I have a confession to make, you guys. This is not my real desk. I know it looks like it, what with the computer and the LED lights, the monitor and everything, but it is just a ruse, a facade to lead you on and make you think that I can maintain a somewhat clean and orderly workspace. My actual desk, brace yourselves, looks like this.
Damn! This is the before shot.
I know, it's horrible and embarrassing. That's over in our computer room or office, which I share with my wife. She works from home about half of the time, but I've asked Joe to blur or censor this image as needed because I'm not sure if there's any sensitive personal documents strewn across the desk there. Also for your own sensibilities and because I don't want to get demonetized due to the raw carnage that's on display. But I would not be sharing the, again, quite embarrassing state of my workspace with you guys unless I was going to do something about it. I have a 3-point plan, so wish me luck.
Excellent!
Today's video is brought to you by Thermaltake's Wood Series cases, adding a touch of warmth and style to a variety of existing chassis designs, such as the TR200WS, seen here in the white snow finish, showcasing light-colored wood-textured accents while maintaining the TR200's core features, such as easily removable side and top panels, magnetic dust filters, and support for an optional 6-inch LCD screen. Black cases like the TR300WS are paired with darker maple-inspired accents for a warm and stylish aesthetic, and of course the case still includes a tempered glass side panel, excellent airflow, and support for 360mm radiators for AIO or custom cooling. Thermaltake's WS chassis lineup includes other cases from the View series and more, so for further details click the Thermaltake Wood Series sponsor link in the video description. Item number 1 is cleaning out my main PC. It's a Threadripper based system. It's generally on 24/7, so it is very dusty, and I also need to do a slight upgrade by adding in a 4K HDMI capture card. Item number 2 is the desk itself, which also needs a pretty thorough cleaning. I need to get everything off of it so I can go through and organize that. I also want to upgrade the monitor arm, at least for my ultra wide, to make things a little bit more flexible and do some rewiring so I can more easily switch between sit mode and stand mode. Item number 3 is actually the main motivation for this video. A little over a month ago, I built a Linux PC in the Fractal Pop 2 Vision case. I need to find room for and add that system to my setup, hook it up to the HDMI capture card so I can start properly documenting my Linux journey. But let's start with step 1, shutting down my computer, disconnecting it, and extricating it from my setup so I can bring it outside, and with the help of my Wolf box and my DataVac Pro, I can treat you guys to some PC cleaning porn, as it were. Perhaps I should label this part not safe for work. Giggity. Alright, so with my PC pretty well cleaned out and the 4K capture card added, I can move on to step 2, the pretty daunting task of cleaning off my desk and upgrading that monitor arm. Alright, so I won't say things are perfect in that sort of permanent sort of way, but I will say mission accomplished for now. My main PC has been cleaned out and upgraded, and it is now working with the 4K capture card. My desk over here is much cleaner than it was, and fairly well cable managed, for the most part. I wouldn't say it's perfect, but things are pretty well tucked away under there, and if I need to change things in the future, it's not entirely tied down to where it's going to be a real big job to make any modifications. And of course, our main goal, the Linux PC, has been installed. It was a little bit of a job to figure out how everything was going to fit in here, and I ended up taking the FreeNAS that used to be over there and sticking it up on the desk, although I'm already feeling like I'm going to need to find a better home for that as well, because it does somewhat limit how I can move around and maneuver my monitors. One thing I do like about how I fit this one in was I found a bamboo cutting board in our kitchen that we haven't used for like 5 years. And I put that underneath the system because otherwise it would not have fit in this orientation, but that also gives me the ability to like pretty easily slide it out from the wall if I need to access the rear connectors. A thought I had a few times over the course of making this video was my main PC here. Did I do a video on that build? And actually I did. It's from March 2021. I'll link it in the description if you want to check it out. And this system has actually been on a bit of a ride because some of the core components were originally in my Riptide build that I did in the Corsair 1000D or 10,000D or however many Ds Corsair put into that case. It was originally a dual system build that had my NAS and my system in it, and I split that up eventually because I was having too much trouble doing maintenance on both of the systems. So that is why the NAS is over there and this system is right here. But if you're wondering what the specs are for this system, I already mentioned it's Threadripper based. It's actually got a 32 core Threadripper 3970X and 64 gigs of Corsair DDR4 3200 memory in there. It was originally a 128 gig kit, 8x16 gigs. But I split that kit in half because even before the RAM crisis, high capacity RAM kits were pretty hard to come by. The case is the Corsair 5000X. The motherboard is the Asus Zenith 2 Extreme, which is a TRX 40 motherboard. Then for storage, I've got a 2x10 terabyte RAID 1 hard drive array. And then I've got 3 SSDs, two 1 terabyte SSDs and one 2 terabyte SSD. There are a variety of models. And then the graphics card did get swapped out because Kyle needed to borrow a black RTX 3090 and was the only one I had, and he traded me supposedly temporarily for a white RTX 3090, so that is what is installed there. It's an Asus ROG white RTX 3090. That should narrow it down enough. And it does have the advantage of having 3 8-pin PEG connectors rather than a 12V 2x6 or 12VH power. Now, the third part of this build, set up for the Linux system, was probably the shortest part of this video, and that's because a lot of it was just cable management. I realized I needed 2 longer HDMI cables to connect my 4K display up here, because one is connected directly to my main PC, the other one is going to the pass-through capture card and then on over to the Linux build. But I had to use an older HDMI cable, so right now I think I'm only getting 4K 30Hz signal through. I have a couple more cables arriving later today that should allow me to get full 4K 60Hz, so I can actually use both of the systems and not feel like anything's lagging at all. The final steps to get all this up and running was to install the Elgato software to recognize the 4K 60 Pro capture card. Then I fired up the Linux build, verified that the signal was passing through the Elgato software, and then I went and updated OBS and ran that and made sure everything was working just fine there too. But that is pretty much all the time I have for this video, but I wanted to ask you guys for some feedback before I go. First of all, just in terms of like office decoration, I haven't done a whole lot of like LEDs or anything like that here. I have some artwork that Hannah made me up on the wall over here, but if you guys have any like interior design tips for how I could maybe spruce this place up a little bit, maybe add some shelves up on the wall, something like that, please leave those in the comment section below. And then also for my Linux build, I currently have a separate keyboard and mouse, just a wireless configuration plugged in, so I can switch over to that if I'm using that system. But I know using a KVM would be a much more elegant solution, but I actually don't have a lot of experience with different versions of those. So if you guys have any suggestions for me there, and you want to leave those in the comments below, that would be greatly appreciated too. While you're down there, there's also a link to my store at paulshardware.net where you can help support my channel by getting yourself some high quality merch. And of course, if you want to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel, that's always greatly appreciated as well. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Links to everything is down in the description. We'll see you all in the next one.